Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is that you're doing this. Today we're going to do our second tutorial, and this is the first of two. So this is the easier version of modeling a box. We're going to keep it incredibly simple this time and simply model what a box looks like with the lid closed. So as always, I'm going to get rid of Julie, Susan, Michelle, and I'm going to start with a fairly small box. Um, I'm typing in 10, 5, so that's the length and the width of our box. And I'm just doing overall dimensions here. So I'll push pull 3.5. So it's 3.5 inches tall, 5 inches wide, 10 inches long. And as always, anytime I make something useful, you can probably echo me now, I select everything, I right click, make component, and make it into a box. And there's very few little details here at this point in time. The reason that I've made it now is it does teach us the next thing we can do. So if I double click on that, you'll notice that it brings up a dotted gray border instead of the blue selection screen. And this means that I'm now editing that component. So I can use my push-pull tool. I can change things around. And I want to show you something really quickly here that can sometimes be super useful. So move, copy. I'm going to move it over 8 inches and moving it in the green. The neat thing about components is if I go ahead and edit this component, it edits all of the components. What that means for you is if you're designing a table and you make 4 legs, you make one of them. You make one leg. And if you realize that you need to change something, if you need to make it longer, skinnier, whatever it is, all of those changes will happen to every leg that you have. So I'm still editing this one. And the first thing I'm going to do, let me just find it here, is do an offset. There it is. That's hidden behind the push-pull tool. There it is, offset. It could be O, but don't quote me on it. So I'm typing in 0.625, which is the decimal equivalent of 5/8. So this gives us the top of our box, the top border of our box. And I'm simply going to push-pull. So I hit P. I'm going to push-pull that top section in 0.25. So that gives us our sliding lid. Now to complete the information here, I'm going to go back to my tape measure and slide something over. I'm just going over 0.25, not 0.215, 0.25. And what that does is gives me a reference line. I'll show you why in a second. I'm going to do the same thing along the other edge, 0.25. And what that does is gives me the option to draw in my rabbits. Okay, now I'm just using the pencil tool. And I'm just going to do that at every end. So I start at the inside corner, I work my way down, and you might notice that it's automatically inferencing here. One last thing that I will do at this end is just indicate the handle of the box. So I'm just hitting Control. I selected the line first. I'm doing Control, and I'm making sure that it's on the face, but that it's also snapping to the blue line. And I'm just going to go down 0.5 here. So that's half an inch down. This is just kind of representing the handle of the sliding lid box. Before I go anywhere else, I'm going to get rid of those two guidelines, and I'll go to the other end. So I'm going to click on my center button again, orbit around. Oh, I shouldn't have. Okay, Control Z, Control Z. There's those lines back. I shouldn't have deleted those straight away. I need them now. I'm just indicating where the rabbits are and then drawing basically the end. So this kind of construction, this basic fast construction, is really good when you just want to kind of model what something looks like and also figure out what part sizes will actually be. So to help you with that, you can use the dimension tool and click from endpoint to endpoint, and it will give you a measurement that works. So you'll notice this box was 5 inches wide. If we go over here and go corner to corner, that's 5 inches. Quarter-inch rabbet, quarter-inch rabbet. You might remember from your parts list that the length of the end pieces is typically half an inch smaller than the total width of the box. So the length of this end piece is half an inch smaller than the width of the box. Length of the box is 10 inches. You can go ahead and indicate the thickness of the wood as well if you want. And I just find this kind of work really useful when I go to generate my parts list. I should probably not forget the height. And there it is. Now, one thing that might frustrate you is you might not be able to get rid of those guidelines. That's because they're buried in the model, in the component. If I double click so that I'm editing the component, I can then delete those. And to get out of editing this component, I'll click over here. So that's part one of modeling a box. Simple sliding lid box, and that's it. So follow along, keep to these measurements if you want, or model the size of the box that you're building. That would be even better. As always, if you're having any problems, send me an email or talk to me in class, and I'll try to help you out with those problems. Enjoy it, take your time, don't get mad.